My husband, Doug, he's got this other podcast where he interviews authors. He's an author. And it's called Dedicated with Doug Brown. It's really good. And he had on Douglas Murray. It actually released today. Douglas Murray, who's such a great pundit. And he was talking to Douglas Murray about people like Rachel Maddow and how they just spew lies and they don't debate anybody, right? Like, wouldn't it be great to see somebody get on there and grill her and say, like, how dare you, madam? Have you no shame? Speaking of quoting McCarthy, right? It doesn't happen. By the way, we have the clip. Just, shameless plug for Doug's podcast. It's kind of cute. Here, watch this.
Is there anyone out there that you would like to debate that you think could maybe do it in a constructive way?
Unfortunately, not at the moment. There are ones who I'd like to debate who wouldn't be able to do it. I'd love to debate Nicole Hannah-Jones of the 1619 Project, or Robin DiAngelo, the race huckster, author of White Fragility and other unreadable terms. So I'd love to debate Ibram X. Kendi. But all three people I've just mentioned are a new form of public figure in America, which is the public figure who throws out incendiary ideas and will not defend them in public. In fact, says, I will not debate these ideas because all opponents are de facto racist.
What about, I don't know, you and Rachel Maddow probably have a different worldview. She's smart. Yeah,
well, it doesn't necessarily mean I've met plenty of dim people from these places. But I think she's an act. I don't think she's a real ideas person. It's just an act. She has a shtick where she sits in front of the monitor and reads out and cries sometimes when it's good for ratings, and I don't think it's a real ideas person by any means.
Sounds so much better with a British accent.
Yeah, it's like ASMR, isn't it? I'm like, so soothing when
here's a little of that.
Angry.
Yeah, my daughter does that all the time.
Yeah, he's like opening packages, very. But no, he's right about all of these things. And if people, it's funny when you say like we cannot have people like Alex Jones and whatever, because people are silly and stupid and we don't trust them and they'll believe these things. So let's just have somebody uninterrupted on cable for 5-6 years talking about Trump being a Russian asset on a cable channel that's getting very good ratings for cable and unopposed, and have them sort of, it's the idea that people are going to soak this stuff up, and they do. And he's absolutely right about the people he mentioned before who explicitly say, we have invited Nicole Hannah-Jones many times onto the podcast. That was a long time ago, before she, said she won't talk to anyone. If you can find a critical debate, she'll sneer at people on Twitter, but you will not find on YouTube her being challenged by an actual historian. She's not a historian, but she has made very large claims for herself and for the history of the United States that is, revisionism is a perfectly fine thing. We can revise history. It's very important to do so. Sure. But it's also very important to be able to publicly defend those ideas. And as Douglas says to your husband, a very smart way of saying it is that this is something that used to be standard, but those were amongst historians. We have media people now redrawing the past of America and saying, no. It's not good for me to go out there and defend these things. It's just good to get the echo chamber, and people want to get that, validation. They don't want challenge.
I have a quick question I have to ask you guys. Can I ask you a quick question? Forgive me for this question.
Oh, no.
But does this,
God, here we go.
Does this officially put an end to any possibility of Hillary Clinton becoming the nominee? I'm just saying, nobody wants Biden. Nobody wants Kamala. I've heard the name mentioned over and over. It's dead. It's dead. The horse is dead.
It's dead.
Okay. The horse is dead.
I want to agree. I want to agree, but I don't make predictions like that anymore. Ever since I was very, very wrong about Donald Trump securing the nomination for the Republican Party. So
I've been humbled.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I was wrong about the Russia stuff. I was like, oh, well, the FBI's got to have something. And
well, that's
I said that many times in the podcast, and I walked that back.
That's the problem. I think most Americans were very trusting of an institution like the DOJ, like the FBI, and even I had real faith in Jim Comey. I thought he was a man of honor. I see him so differently now. Thank God for alternative sources of media, for those journalists who did question, who didn't accept. I was on the sidelines for a lot of this reporting because it was in between my stints in television. But I thank God for people who push back, people like Glenn Greenwald, people like Tucker, who just didn't accept these narratives, who kept pressing and didn't allow Rachel Maddow to have the floor, alone, right? There was another narrative out there and it made people hate them. Just for fun, just for kicks, here's just a throwback, just real quick, to Rachel Maddow during the Trump era and what she sounded like then, Miss $30 million a year lady.
Russia, Vladimir Putin, Russia hates Russia, Putin, Russia, Moscow, Russia, pro-Russian, the Russians, Russian, Moscow, Russia, Putin, Russian against us, Russians, Russia against the U.S., the Russian government scheme, the Russians, Vladimir Putin, Putin and Russia, Moscow, Russia, the Russians.
That gets you $30 million a year. We think that's from Matt Taibbi. Doctors say you should eat 6 cups of fruits and veggies a day. I don't have the time or desire to eat 6 cups of fruits and veggies. I don't know about you. But according to a massive study, people who eat healthy live longer, have less heart disease, less diabetes, and less cancer. That is why I want to tell you about Field of Greens. Unlike other fruit and vegetable supplements, each specific fruit and vegetable in Field of Greens was medically selected to support specific functions like heart health, liver, kidney health, immune system, and metabolism. It can help you stay healthy. Field of Greens works fast, and you will feel healthier, have more energy, your skin and hair will look healthier, and it can help you lose weight. But the biggest benefit is the better health promise. Take Field of Greens, and at your next doctor visit, if your doctor doesn't say something like, whatever you're doing, it's working, keep it up, you can return it for a full refund. And to help get you started, I got you 15% off your first order. Plus, get another 10% off when you subscribe for recurring orders. Visit fieldofgreens.com and use promo code MK. That's fieldofgreens.com, promo code MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.